first thing that changed my life was when I was 11 years old. We had no money and no food. My fourth father, and he was a good man, but he lost his job, and we weren't going to starve. We had crackers and peanut butter, but Thanksgiving is a feasting holiday in the United States, and so it made it even worse. And my parents were arguing and sharing things back and forth that once you say them, you can never take them back. Everybody remembers them. And I'm trying to get my brother and sister not to hear it. And long story short, a man knocks on the door. I open the door, and there's this tall man standing there with these 2 bags of groceries, and he had a pot with an uncooked turkey on the ground. And he said, "Is your father here?" And I said, "Just one moment." And I went to go get my dad, and he was screaming through this door at my mom. And I said, "There's somebody here for you, Dad." And he goes, "You answer." I said, "I did. It's for you. Who is it?" I said, "I don't know." And I was so excited to see him be so happy. And when he opened the door, he was not happy. I couldn't believe it. He said, "We don't accept charity." And he went to slam the door in the man's face. And long story short, the man finally just said, "Look, sir, I'm just delivering this food. Someone knows you're having a tough time. Everyone has tough times. And, this is for your family." And my father went, "We don't take charity," and started to push the door again. And the guy's leg was there, so it smashed against it and popped open. And the man saw me, and I'll never forget this moment. He looked at me, and he looked at my father, and he said, "Sir, don't let your ego get in the way of taking care of your family." And I thought my father was going to punch him in the face. I could still see it like yesterday, his veins on the side of his neck popping open. And he took the food, slammed it down, and closed the door. Didn't even say thank you. Changed my life. Because that day, my father left shortly thereafter because he felt like he hadn't taken care of his family. He was embarrassed. It was one of the worst days of my life. If you're really in a tough place, I've spent my life dealing with people in the worst situations in life. And there's some people they've lost their sight, they've lost their arms, they've lost their family, and they have the most joyous, happy, amazing, extraordinary life. It is not life that controls you. What controls us is the life you focus on. In fact, jot this down if you would. Write down, "I'm not experiencing life. I am not experiencing life. I'm experiencing the life I focus on." Because whatever you focus on is real to you. It becomes your story. In other words, how many of you right now, if you wanted to, could think of many things you could be upset about or frustrated with in your own life or with your kids or in the world? How many of you, if you really focused on, have lots of things you could be incredibly grateful for? People you love, those that love you, your health. What's wrong is always available. So is what's right. But when your story is, "I've tried everything," then you don't even try anymore. You can have the answer right in front of you and not see it. I'll give you an example of storytelling. I remember when I was a kid, I don't know if you ever had experience like this. We were really poor, and I worked hard, and I had to go to the store, get the groceries on my bike, bring it, make the meal, put it down. I finally sit down to eat, and my mom or dad would say, "Get me the salt." And I'm starving. I'm just starting to eat. So I go, "I don't know what the salt is." I was not lying. I didn't know the exact GPS location of the salt. And they say, "You know the salt is. Get the salt." I was like, "I don't know what it is. Get the salt. I don't. Go get the salt." So I get up, and what am I saying? "Man, I don't know what the salt is. I don't know what the salt is." Open the cover, and I go, "It's on the second shelf." I don't know what the salt is. I look. I go, "It's not here." They said it's on the second shelf. I'm going, "Salt is." I really am looking. It's not there. My dad walks right beside me, reaches right in front of my face, and goes, "What is this?" Well, I was telling myself a story over and over again. I don't know what the salt is. And so my eyes saw the salt, but my brain didn't perceive it. It created in psychology what's called a scotoma, a blind spot, where literally you can't see the answer. How many of you have ever been with someone and they want your help and you're trying to help them, show them how to do something, and they don't even see it because they have a story that's stopping them, a limiting belief? Change your story, change your life. If your story is, "Man, I'm always at the bottom of the pile and I try everything and nothing ever works and I've been through this and that," it may be true, but that's the wrong story. The better story is, "I've gone through all these experiences that have made me stronger and now I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. Here's what I'm going to do." And as simplistic as that sounds, you'll never use the right strategy if you have a limiting story. Your story says nothing works, so when I show you the strategy, "Oh, I've tried that," or, "Nothing like that works." That works for rich people. The story is the glue that gets you stuck. What you want to do is divorce the story of your limits, of your limitations, and marry the truth of your real abilities. Now, some people get a divorce and then they go visit with their divorced one over and over. Don't want to visit with your old beliefs. You just want to cut it off and move forward. Now, if you got the right story, you'll figure out the right strategy. Even if I don't show it to you, you'll find the right strategy with the right story. But your story is affected by what you should be starting with, and most people get to last, if ever. And that is your state, your mental, emotional state. Now, what does that mean? Have you ever gotten really angry with somebody, and then suddenly when you're angry with them, you think of everything they've ever done that's ever pissed you off? Or a better example is, have you ever been with somebody, have you ever gotten to a place where you felt like head over heels in love with someone? What will you do for them? So in the beginning of a relationship, we're in a different state. We have a different story. Our state and story is like, what do you want? Someone says, could you take out the trash? When you're totally in love, you go, take out the trash. Help me do it. I'll do it for you. How else can I help you? Right? But after about 7 days or 7 weeks or 7 months or 7 years or 70 years, somewhere in there between 7 days and 70 years, the person says, could you take out the trash? And you go, what do I look like? You're a janitor. And you go, I don't know what it is. We don't have any passion anymore. I don't know what it is. Because you went into a different state. When you're in a great state, things flow. Now, you can change your state, the way your mind and emotion is working. That's where you want to start. You want to change this order. You got to get yourself in state. If you've ever been at home and you're like this, you're like, oh man, I know, I got to figure this out. I gotta turn my life around. I'm like, oh man. In this state, you will never get the answer. But if I can get you in a radically different state, like you see we do in the seminars, in that energized state, now we can create a new belief or a new story. Now when I show you what to do, you'll do it because your body is wired for it. You have that testosterone drive and the cortisol's gone. Now, I've been teaching how to change your state for decades. The fastest way to change your state is a radical change in the way you use your body. The state you're in affects your story. When you're in love, what's wrong with life? What's wrong with life when you're totally head over heels in love? We have no money, it doesn't matter, we're in love. When you're in the right state, when you have the right story and you're in the right state, you have a different story about your life, you then come up with the answers, the strategies. You know, Martin Luther King did not know how to change America, but he knew what needed to be done and why. And when he gave his speech, I Have a Dream, he didn't know how to make it happen, but he was able to inspire people and put them in a different state. President Kennedy, when he said, we're going to put a man on the moon in this decade and bring him back to the earth safely, the people in NASA were like, he's insane. We don't have the resource. We don't know how to do that. He goes, I don't care you know how. This is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it. If you get a strong enough what you want and why you want it, you can figure out how. But you got to do it from an altered state. If you want to change your life, the first thing you want to do is change your state radically. You change your state, you'll get a better story, and now we can figure out how to do it and follow through.